Bitcoin and Ethereum. What's its next move? Let's find out in the chart, shall we? Wow, did Bitcoin broke down and hit my target? What I was thinking about last night, I was saying, hey, this was the lowest part it possibly could do in the worst case scenario, and did that last night after my video with private video with the Pandora as well as subscribers. And now Bitcoin seems to be moving back into the rising wedge here, and which could turn into a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. So let's talk about that and more in today's episode. My name is Da Vinci Jeremy. If you're interested in seeing that, right, please hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button, because you know what? YouTube gatekeeps all this stuff, and don't want to miss out that $1 call where, hey, buy one Bitcoin on $1, and a lot of people missed out on that. You don't want to miss out on that either. My next call. So, anyways, with that said, my name is Da Vinci Jeremy. If you want to trade this stuff, right, you can do so on Bybit, Femex, or even BTC Mex, right? Links are in the description below. So let's get on to the show, right? Because it's going to be an interesting show, because I'm going to talk about why is Bitcoin and Ethereum going to 10x from here when it's already done at 12x from the bottom of March lows. We're going to talk about that at the end of the TA of the show. That's very important. So you don't want to miss out on that. That's very important information. You don't want to miss out on that. All right, so let's get on to the TA, because I'm excited about that, right? Because I'm like, whoa, because I took a little bit of a long last night, and I didn't we're looking at the lower time frames. I thought for sure, oh yeah, you know what, this thing looks like it's bullish, it's gonna go higher, and I'm gonna take this long. On the lower time frames, we saw a little bit of a W-ish pattern occurring, and then it was fall back into the W, right? You can see it right here. Let me just draw that out, right? And then took a little bit of long here. Didn't lose a whole lot. Remember, I always follow the rule that, hey, you know what? These W's do not always work, right? So you have to accept the losses when they do, and make sure that you do not lose all your money. The purpose of this, when you're trading, right, your one objective only is not to get wrecked. That's it. Make that your one objective when you're trading any particular asset ever, is to never get wrecked, and always assume that trade could fail. And once you do that, you know that, hey, you know what, I'm not going to bet the farm on any particular trade. And look at that, right? And I walked away with a small loss. Of course, I should have realized that, hey, you know what, if this does not W does not pan out, right, you can see this pretty much turns this into a big M here, the opposite direction, right here. Let me just show that out. So you could have called this part an M here, right, and then this was the breakdown level right here, right. This was the breakdown, right? Oops. Let me just make that a little bit more clearer by drawing a straighter line right here. So the breakdown would have been right here, or you could have said, okay, I'll take the breakdown right here, because you know what, this was the lower part of the M right here. You could have said, call that the lower part of the M, because that's most likely the better. Right here, right there. Okay. There we go. So let me just redraw that. So yeah, you could have called this whole part right here, this whole right here, and there you go. Oops. Right, and then the breakdown is right here, and there we go. We broke all the way down. You could have made a nice 2-to-1 gain, right? We could have flipped bearish as well on that one. And look at that, it broke exactly on the trend line, and so there you go. You would have made some money on that as well with the M. Looking at the M, A little bit difficult, right? But you know what? Finding those M's and W's are a little bit difficult and tricky to find. But with a little practice, you will see them, right? You will see them everywhere um, that on the market. So it's very good to practice looking for different different patterns that are showing up in the price structure, right? Always practice, right? When you practice something 10,000 times, when you practice something with 10,000 hours, you will become professional at it. All right. With that said, Bitcoin is now looking like it wants to break back into the rising wedge here. And let me just draw that out. There we go. Oops. Come on. It's amazing, though, how it just bounced exactly off the 78.6. Exactly. It just went whoosh. Broke down to 61.8, 78.6. We draw this last night with everybody. This was the exact perfect Fibonacci levels that we came up with, right? And I love that. I love that. When these fibs, man, they work out so nicely, right? I was like, okay, so this is the perfect fib right here, and boom. This is lined right up with a resistance level. So I thought, okay, that's the worst case scenario. I said that was the worst case scenario last night, unfortunately, because I was thinking, yeah, this was clear W right here, nice, beautiful W breakout, and you can see it even on the you can see it from here as we zoom out on the 15-minute time frame. Beautiful W that unfortunately did not work out to our favor. Zooming in, you can see that we're bouncing off of this trend line. We maintain this trend line. We turn it into it's probably a trend. This is it either a rising wedge, or I would say it's a trend channel, most likely. Yes, it's a trend channel, most likely. And once we break this channel, right, we're probably headed in that direction of the break. So this is a trend channel that if we break up, right, we're probably going to break into this, back into the symmetrical triangle or rising wedge actually, and then if we continue that way, that trend, right, we'll probably break higher because of the because hey, you know what, this is very bullish whenever the market does something like that. Breaks out and then breaks back in. So looking forward to that. But if we break down, we could see ourselves coming all the way back down to retest this bottom here to say, okay, yeah, do we really want to go lower here? And we could actually end up as the worst case scenario all the way down to this red trend line right down here. So that's at the $42,000, $43,000 level. So that's the worst case scenario. And so, yeah, that's what we could end up doing. Let's just see. We'll wait for price action to give us a direction, and then we can decide whether or not we want to trade that. Alrighty. Next, let's head over to Ethereum. Ethereum, again, I was drawing out this trend line, trying to keep it inside this rising wedge, actually. And it broke, of course. Completely broke on that rising wedge. Didn't hit the 61.8. Looks like it wanted to get close to it. Thought it would. I would have had some buys down here. Watching this break. Once it went sideways through here, I was thinking, oh my goodness, that's causing concern. Last night, maybe this is a what's it called? A rising wedge. Yeah, rising wedge. Not rising wedge. Sorry, it's rising triangle, right? And maybe it was gonna hold. Maybe it was gonna hold after breaking the rising wedge. No, and no, did not. Once it broke down, it was headed straight down south. Now, interesting thing is now it's headed back in. Is it gonna head back into this this triangle pattern here and break higher? we will see. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll probably have a nice, on the lower time frames, nice trend line heading higher, exactly like in Bitcoin. And if we break into this triangle, you could wait for W's or actions to say, okay, well, if we break back in, if there's any kind of W, I'll take that higher. So that's another way you could play that. I don't see this thing, if this thing breaks down, where it goes, okay, no, I'm not going to quite get in there, then breaks down, we could end up a lot lower, unfortunately, which is also a possibility. Ethereum loves to do that a lot more often than a lot more often than Bitcoin. And we could see ourselves coming all the way back down to test the 78.6, or even past the 60, or test the 61.6, 61.8. Sorry, 61.8, which is at the $16,443 level. You can see, yeah, I could probably see that rolling down here because it's a level that usually likes to be tested before we take off, but doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Okay, I think that's it for my TA. I think we're definitely at the bottom line. I think we're headed higher, basically, on both of these things. It doesn't matter if we come back here to 61.8, 78.6, or even down to here to the 1500 level, we're still in a bullish stance. Same with the Bitcoin. If we come down to the 42,000, right? The worst case scenario, we come down to the $43,000 level, we're still in a bullish stance. And why is that? Well, a lot of people just look at Bitcoin and they think, well, you know what? I missed it. It's going too high, right? We've already seen it going up 12x from the lows of March. How could it possibly go higher, right? I mean, that's what most people are thinking, right? And that's understandable. But you're failing to remember one thing. This is Bitcoin, right? And the difference is that there's a limited supply, very limited supply. And in fact, right, on-chain data indicates that, hey, you know what? 60% of all Bitcoin is held for permanent storage. Like, you do know Michael Saylor is not selling any of his Bitcoins. And there's a lot of people like him that are just buying it and they're never going to sell it, right? As long as we have the fiat system. And why would they do that? Why would they not sell their Bitcoins, right? A lot of people would consider that stupid, right? Hey, you know what? Made a lot of money. Why don't I sell some? Well, as long as we have the fiat system that we currently have, you don't need to. You could actually borrow against your Bitcoin to spend money. And so long as you have a means of income, right, you can survive without having to spend any of your Bitcoin. And that's what I would suggest you do, is figure out ways to, supplement your income with the real, with a productive asset, something that's actually producing wealth for you. But make sure that you borrow the money, of course, on that. Never use your own money to receive an income. Use the bank's money because it's printed, right? So you might as well do that. And as long as you're doing that, you should hold your Bitcoins, right, for as long as you can, because eventually, right, the fiat system will collapse, and then you have your Bitcoins to use directly, and they're going to be worth a whole lot more. So with that said, that's 11 million Bitcoins, more than 11 million, almost 12 million Bitcoins being held permanently and gone, and they're not going to be available for people to buy, right now, as it stands, because that will change, right? Because all those Bitcoins are available for sale at some price. Now, with that said, there's about approximately 4 million to 7 million Bitcoin that they predict is completely lost, right? And is not coming back, right? And then there's only 3.5 million of those Bitcoins. And now, keep in mind that 4.7. Before I say that 4.7 million may be part of the 12 million Bitcoins that are being held for investment. So they've estimated that in that part of that 12 million, there's about 4 million that are like not coming back, 3.7 or something like that, that are lost. But I think it's probably something like 5 million. It could be any number, right? Because nobody knows for sure, because you can't know that somebody's Bitcoin is actually not is lost and they're not moving it, or they're actually or they're just storing it permanently. But we do know that we hit with all the stories to how many Bitcoins that have. There's been a lot of Bitcoins that have been lost, right? And I've lost quite a few in the past as well. All right, and they also say that 3.5 million is currently, in daily use for trading, right? So that's being actively traded, and of those 3.5 million, people are like, yeah, I'll take some of that and I'll put it away and never move it. And so that reduction in trading supply will reduce and cause the price to go higher as more and more people realize what Bitcoin is and buy it, put away, and never use. And why would you do that, right? Why would you do that? Well, because Bitcoin is the perfect kind of money. Now, you could say, well, people could say to you, hey, well, all you could do is trade it, send it to somebody else. And if you say that, right, I have to ask, right? So you're saying the money in your bank, right, the digital cash that you have in your bank that you store there, you could do something else with it other than send it to somebody else in the bank or in another bank? You can't. You could do something else with that, right? Oh, that's right. You can't. Oh my goodness. You could only trade it for something else. That's it. There's nothing else you could do with it. You could only trade it for something else. And that's what money is. It's ability to trade it for something else that somebody else wants, right? That you want, right? And they use it to trade to somebody else. And that's what money is. Try to understand that. All right, well, with that said, there's only 2.4 million Bitcoin that's left to be mined. And after that, there's nothing. There's nothing left, right? It's only going to be 21 million and no more, right? So this is why you're going to see Bitcoin in massive numbers, huge numbers, right? And Ethereum, well, Ethereum's, yes, Ethereum is always expanding, right? Always expanding. But with EIP 1559, they're actually going to be contracting because it allows for burning of the transaction fees. Part of the transaction fees will be burnt and never be seen again. So that means we're going to see Ethereum become a deflationary currency. And as more people stake, and of course, I mean, there's so much advantages to Ethereum, right? Like, think about this, right? Somebody who produces music or artwork, and they want to, let's just say you wanted to receive money every time someone sold a specific piece of artwork, right? How would you do that in today's society? Well, you couldn't, right? You'd have to create a contract that's attached to that painting and saying that, hey, if you sold that painting, you owe me money. But it'd be very difficult to enforce. Well, not with Ethereum. You could actually do that. You could enforce that every time that artwork is transferred to somebody else for something, you automatically get paid. Amazing. And it's just automatic. This is all possible through Ethereum and a lot more. We've got our Uniswaps, our decentralized exchanges. We have we could create all kinds of different types of tokens. And what are you going to do? How are you going to create all those tokens? What's the cost to creating those tokens? It costs to have the Ethereum. So Ethereum's got to go higher, a lot higher. It's going to go higher. So people are going to buy, who sees the value of Ethereum. A lot of the wealthy people who see the value of Ethereum, they're going to have to load up. So their costs to creating contracts are a lot lower then in the future, you can see how this is going to be explosive, right? Price appreciation with Ethereum, right? Huge, huge. Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So, with that said, right, we need to know how many people are possibly in this cryptocurrency universe. Because you know what? We are getting a lot of people saying, you know what? They're giving you hints, right? We got like Snoop Dogg, we've got like Lindsay Lohan, we got all these crazy people coming in telling us what to buy. And you're like, no, man, this has got to be the top. This has got to be top. But let's think about that, right, for a second, right? How many people actually are into crypto? Right, they estimate. Let's just go with they estimate there was approximately 300,000 people just trading, but who cares about that? Let's go with some of the big numbers, right? They estimate that 75 million users are on Coinbase, right? That's what Coinbase has, right? And so, but that's not everybody. And then they estimate that there's 200 million wallets, right, that are possibly out there. So let's just say, roughly, there's like 300 million people, right, that are in the crypto universe. And how many people are there on the planet? 8. Yeah, that's right, 8 billion of us. I can walk around here in Chile, and most people have heard of Bitcoin, but don't have any. They've heard about cryptocurrency, but don't have any. So we're only just at the beginning of the number of people that are available to come in. Once we get to 1 billion people, right? That's when we notice some serious, because the next group of people that are coming in are not just the poor, the middle class, or the average Joes. No. This is the top 10% that are coming in now. Top 10%, and they are going to sell it to the bottom 90%, who are still sitting around, looking around, going, yeah, Ponzi. So, yeah, that's what's coming, right? We're going to see those guys get in first, and then push it with all of their wealth, their abilities to push Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to the rest of the 90%ers. Right, so we're gonna see probably about in this bull market, probably get up to like close to 1 billion people coming into this market, is my estimate. And so this is why I think we should see Bitcoin and Ethereum at astronomical numbers this year. Right, this is the year for the institutional FOMO. And that's what I believe is going on right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something today. My name, again, is Da Vinci Jeremy, right? Bitcoin is real. Bitcoin is here to stay. And you need to be a part of it. Cheers, people.